my God. It's happened. We're back. After how many years has it been? It's like 2 years, I think.
2-3 years.
2-3 years. Against all odds, the Essays and Espresso podcast is back. Sort of.
With an asterisk.
Yes, with an asterisk.
Sort of. Yes.
We're not going to be doing the bi-weekly topics anymore because I think we kind of exhausted all the stuff we wanted to talk about. And I think after a point, we had like this list of topics and we were all just kind of like, eh.
We did the same topic twice.
So we just decided, all right, instead of doing that, we're going to move forward with just talking about a specific recommendation and just making an episode about that.
Yay.
Because, you know, I feel like that's more fun for us. We get to like either praise something we like or, crap on something we don't like. It's the best way to move forward. And that way it's also less stressful for us as far as like, we don't have to adhere to a schedule. It's just whenever we all get around to like finishing the thing and then we can talk about it. So,
yeah. Well, I'm going to say, I was the one who kind of dropped out of the podcast first.
It was his fault.
It was my fault. But I always enjoyed the extravaganzas, the podcast specials, because they made me check out a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't have checked out otherwise. And some of it was pretty good.
Some of it was. I don't know about this one necessarily.
No.
So to the eagle-eyed or eagle-eared listeners out there, you might have been like, hey, wait a minute. What happened to Full Metal Alchemist? Don't worry. We will still do Full Metal Alchemist. That's going to be the next recording. We just thought, hey, let's do something quick just to signal that we're back. And I made because I thought it would be funny, I made the mistake of going, hey, let's watch Elfen Lied. And
are you proud of your choice?
Since this is the third time I've seen this show, not really. It's like I have Alzheimer's. I keep forgetting how bad it is whenever I go back to it. And I'm just like, oh God, it's even worse than the last time. So I made it pretty clear that I don't like this show. So Aesir, how do you feel about this show?
I'm not like a fan. I want to put that out there right away.
Not a fan.
I don't think I hated it as much as you two did. But
that's interesting.
Yeah, okay. This is not a show I would ever rewatch. But I was not sitting there being like, damn, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I think this is on par with Madoka Magica. I think this is like at the same. Yeah.
The podcast is off. The podcast is off. We're not doing this.
I think this is at the same level of like, yeah, here's a bunch of nonsense, but probably there's more depth to this. And I did some research, and I discovered that there's a thing called a manga. Now, hold on a second. God damn it, cat!
Should have done like I did and just got the cats out of the room and locked the door. I think my cats are currently clawing outside.
The manga apparently is much more detailed. There's more characters. It dives much more into the characters' backstories. And because it was still ongoing when the anime was made, the anime just abruptly ends at around the halfway point. So I think that I believe that the manga might actually be like kind of decent. And if you've read the manga and you liked it, probably, you get a lot more out of the show. Because the show
Did you actually read the manga?
I did not read the manga. But
okay.
Apparently, the manga has people who defend the anime. I've noticed that they're like, okay, read the manga and then you'll get more out of the show. I don't know if that's true.
Okay, so you're praising the show and putting it on a level with Madoka because of a manga that theoretically might be better than the anime that you also didn't read.
Yeah.
Is this your argument?
No, what I'm saying is that Madoka Magica is just a bunch of nonsense. This we can all agree on.
Dude.
And this is also kind of nonsense.
Why are you
but
doing
the nonsense can be contextualized. And, there's a coherence there that just isn't apparent in the actual show.
What?
No.
Why?
So first off, there's actually a lot of contention about the manga. You're just saying like, oh, the manga's more detailed, it has more character, it's better. But I've also heard it's been pretty even split. I've seen like so many people say that the manga is actually way worse.
Damn, I'm glad I didn't read it then.
Like, I have a friend who, like, he used to like the Elfen Lied anime when he was younger, because he was like, oh, it's so edgy and cool. And then he read the manga, and then he was like, what is this? Now he kind of looks back, and he's like, yeah, I don't like the anime either. But, like, he's gone on tirades with me about, like, how much he hates the manga. He's like, the manga's just, like, dramatically worse somehow. I have heard some people say that they prefer the manga, though. So this is not like, it's not just a one and done. It's just like, okay, everyone hates it. There's some contention, but I'm just saying, don't just assume that the manga is better. There is debate.
Okay.
I honestly don't care. I have this anime in front of me, and I'm going to talk about that and not assume how is better in another medium that I haven't seen.
Bouken, how did you feel about the anime?
Oh, it's terrible. It's goddamn awful. But I feel like towards the end, like I was still hating it, and I was bored out of my mind. But it felt like, okay, there's probably a couple elements in here that could make for a decent story if they weren't like written like the worst thing I've ever seen. But
I can agree with that.
Yeah. There's some elements are there that we can talk about.
Okay.
Let's set up what the plot is, I guess.
Did you watch the sub or the dub?
The sub.
Daniel.
So I've seen it both ways.
Right. I only watched the dub. Get some real good American voice acting in there.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the only actor in the dub that's any good is Lucy.
Yeah, but she's barely there.
Sure.
Lucy does not have a lot of lines.
She doesn't have a lot of lines, but when she does appear, she's the only one that makes me go like, oh, I actually believe what she's saying.
Yeah. It's a lot of like, you guys are just a bunch of jackasses and I'm Mr. Tough Guy. It's a lot of crap like that. It's a lot of exposition,
but she makes it
too.
work.
Yeah, but she doesn't have those lines. I'm talking about the cyborg guy.
Bando.
Yeah, there's a lot of like crappy voice acting.
Is that his name?
He's the best character of the show.
What?
No, he sucks ass. All of these
the
characters
worst.
suck ass.
When I say he's the best character, I don't mean like he's the best written. I mean like he's so cartoonishly over the top and ridiculous that he turns around for me and becomes awesome.
Should we discuss the story?
Let's set up the plot here.
Yeah, do we want to do like an episode by episode discussion or just?
I mean,
I also don't remember what the episodes individually were.
All right.
I mean, I wrote pretty detailed notes. I could probably do episode by episode.
All right.
But okay, all right. So just to give like a quick overview of what the show is about.
Wait! I want to see Aesir do it. Aesir, you give the synopsis.
Okay.
Me?
You.
Why? It feels like you're accusing me of something.
Just curious.
J'accuse.
Okay. So, in episode 1, there's this girl. She has a helmet. Don't know why. And she's running from a company. And she has, like, magic psychic powers and horns. And they are shooting at her. But then she leaves. And then, for some reason, she's only, like, communicating in cat noises. Don't know why. And she meets up with Toda. Kota. I said his name earlier. And she moves into his house. the house that he's staying at, which he doesn't own, but like a niece of his or somebody owns, or a niece of the girl. And then the other girl, she also moves in, and then they meet a homeless girl who was being abused, and she moves in with her dog.
Yeah.
And then a second pink-haired girl who tried to kill Lucy. We said the name earlier. She moves into the house as well, and they're all running from the cops. But it feels like the cops should like know where they are. Like they're
not running.
They don't. No, they're running from not the cops. They're like taking shelter from like the government guys. And they're like 6 kids that all live in this gigantic house, and nobody's asking questions. And then they get a third girl who's like the doctor guy's daughter, and she's in a wheelchair. And she has like way more sort of tendril vector arms than the other two did.
But to be clear, that her name is Marika. She does not move in.
No,
she doesn't move in. But she's
That's
the final
very end of
boss.
the show.
Just making that distinction.
She's the final boss, and her dad blows her up on a bridge along with him. And then Lucy...
Great synopsis, Acer.
Lucy goes...
This is not very clear.
This is one of the worst fucking synopses I've ever fucking heard.
Lucy goes and fights the cops, and then she dies. But does she? Because she comes back at the end. And somewhere in the middle, the cyborg guy, because he doesn't want his balls cut off, he decides that he's going to bail on them. And for some reason, they gave him his mechanical arms before castrating him. I don't know why they wanted to castrate him. I guess that's just something they like to do.
I'm gonna have to stop you here because you didn't even introduce the cyborg guy, but you're mentioning him now.
It's a non-linear story, just like Elfen Lied. It's
very linear. It's just shit.
Yeah, so the character you're talking about is Bando, who's like a totally random, like psychotic killer character. And the reason why they wanted to castrate him is because the way that the diclonius, the way that they reproduce, is that they will put their vectors. You were talking about psychic powers earlier.
Yeah, vector hands.
They're vector hands. They will put their vectors inside of people, and they don't always do it just to kill people. Sometimes they'll put the vectors inside of people, and what they're actually doing is that they're spreading their virus, so that when normal people reproduce, they don't give birth to a regular human; they give birth to a diclonius.
And twice in the show, the funniest thing happened. It happened with the son of the company guy and the leader of the company guy right at the end, where they like dramatically take off their wigs. And they have the horns.
And they're diclonius themselves.
Yep.
Let's talk about that later, but I have very many questions about this whole lore and this plan.
Yeah, the anime does not explain a lot of stuff, but we'll get through it together.
But yeah, okay, to shorten this a little bit. So Lucy breaks out of the facility, kills a bunch of people, and then she loses her memory for some reason that is not explained, and then sometimes she has a memory back, but she moves in with Kota and his cousin, who's in love with him, and he doesn't get it.
So in my opinion, because you're saying like, oh, she loses her memory and it's not really explained. I don't think that's what's happening. It's not that she's losing her memory. It's a shift in personality, right? Like, it's the Lucy personality and the new personality. And this happens because it's a trauma trigger. Now, obviously, this author doesn't know fucking anything about trauma or trauma triggers. So this is a very simple... Okay, it's very clear that this guy played Silent Hill 2 and didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Right? Because if you think about it, it's the same plot, like, mechanic of, like... Because James, from the trauma of what happened to him, I'm not going to get into the SH2 spoilers, but, you know, if you know, you know, James is suffering from, like, trauma, and his memories are all fucked up for that reason, right? So it's pretty clear that this guy played Silent Hill 2 and saw that and was like, that's a really cool idea. I'm going to implant this in my story. And he wants to tell the story about trauma and the triggers, right? And I know this for a fact because Acer, you brought up one of the little girls, this
Yeah.
homeless girl named Mayu.
Yeah.
Her character is a direct reference to Angela.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
She has the same backstory, and her dog's name is James.
Oh, yeah.
Think about her backstory. Her backstory is that she was abused by her father, technically stepfather, sexually abused by him, and she was treated like shit by her mother.
That's true. Angela, though, doesn't... I don't think Angela has any canonical interactions with her mom. I know her brother was also in the abuse.
Well, no, her mother... there's a specific piece of dialogue that Angela reveals in the very last cutscene where she says that her mother said that Angela deserved what happened to her.
Oh.
So that's pretty clear. Oh, I do, because I've been writing a Silent Hill 2 video recently, so I have Silent Hill 2 on the brain, baby.
Oh, you got that Silent Hill brain.
It's on like full throttle. But yeah, so it's very clear based on that dialogue.
Oh yeah,
alone.
she's like, "Mommy." Yeah, I remember now. On the stairs.
Yes. Yeah, she's freaking out because, like she realized James is not, her mother. And then that's when, because James is trying to like console her, and she's like, "Don't pity me." It's like what Mama said. I deserved what happened to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Her mother was literally gaslighting her about her abuse.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. No.
Right.
Okay. And
So if you keep that in mind, though, and you look back on what Elfen Lied is trying to do, you're going to see this pop up a lot. The show is all about trauma, and it's all about how trauma affects people. But because this author doesn't know what they're doing, it's done in like the most heavy-handed, like hackneyed way possible.
yeah, one last detail that we need to mention, I guess, is that our main character Kota, he comes from a different city or something and moves in with his cousin, and they're taking in Lucy, who is in another personality. She's called New because she can only say New and behaves like a child. And they actually have a backstory that is shown in a flashback where she broke out the first time, I want to say, and she kind of met him after some dumb shit, and she fell in love with him, and he took another girl to a festival where Lucy also was, after lying about the fact that he's taking another girl, and then she loses her mind and kills a bunch of people, including his own sister
And father.
And father. And Kota has amnesia.
He takes
doesn't remember what happened.
His niece, doesn't he?
No, it was a sister.
Yeah, it was his sister.
Oh.
On the train at the end. She murdered his father and his sister.
Yes.
And he doesn't remember anything because he was like in a coma for a year or something. So
yeah, he was traumatized.
This was honestly driving me crazy, how convenient it is that she always goes back to her innocent personality the moment something bad would have happened. And
see, that's the author trying to say something about triggers.
Yeah, but it's dumb. It's just convenient plot shit, so they can have funny slice of life episodes.
I'm not defending it, mind you. I agree with you that it's very contrived.
Yeah.
But I am trying to explain. Yes, that is what the author is trying to do. He's trying to say something. What exactly? We'll work that out.
Especially because the way I understood it, her bad personality actually wants to murder him, right? Because she's still pissed.
Lucy? No.
Lucy, yeah.
No,
she wants to murder everybody else? No, by the end, but by the beginning? I feel like this should have just ended in one episode where, accidentally the bad personality collided with seeing Kota and she fucking murdered him and cut his head off.
No, at the end she was saying that like she wanted to apologize to him this entire time.
Oh, true.
Hey, why does Kota suck so much?
He's the worst.
He's pretty bad. I agree.
One of the blandest main character I've ever seen in anything.
So
there's a line in The Simpsons where Lisa is in love with Nelson Muntz, and Bart's like, "Oh no, Nelson Muntz," and Lisa's like, "Oh, but he's the first boy who's ever liked me," and Bart's like, "Milhouse likes you," and Lisa goes, Milhouse, he's like Vaseline on toast. And I kept thinking about that line while I was watching Coda. This guy is he sucks so much.
He is the worst.
He's Vaseline on toast.
I would watch any other protagonist in this story.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That sort of was driving me nuts. We have another protagonist in the doctor guy.
Karama.
Who is infinitely more interesting.
I would say he is the closest the show gets to like a halfway decently written character.
Yes, I would agree. And we just waste all this time with this ever-growing harem of little girls in Kota's giant house. And
yes.
Like 75% of every episode is wasted on stupid slice of life shit.
Can we get into that real quick? Can we just talk about how insane it is that this show constantly has this tonal whiplash of extreme, over the top, like really hyper detailed gore and violence, like where you can see the bone and meat and just like people's like torsos being blown off. It's ridiculous. And then it will hard cut to like silly slapstick nonsense.
Yeah. That's literally the first thing that happens is that clumsy secretary comes into the room.
Completely.
Where Lucy just... I thought she was going to be the main character of the show. She's like a clumsy, working at the facility and, I have bigger dreams. I hope they notice me at some point. And then she just stumbles into the situation and immediately gets ripped in half.
Expectations subverted.
She gets her head twisted off, and then she's used as like a meat shield for the bullets.
Yes.
I feel like I must have made that exact same complaint when we watched Madoka Magica. And I don't want to keep bringing it back there, but I had massive Madoka Magica vibes from the show.
I don't understand that.
Me neither.
Just,
in Madoka,
it's
in Madoka it starts
and dark, but then it's like silly.
But it's not. But there's a point where it changes, because in Madoka it's like, okay, the first half is we're little magical girls and we can fulfill our dreams, and then
Not
they realize
the first half, like the first three episodes,
the first couple episodes, and then they go onto an actual mission, and then the mother character, like the guardian character, dies, and they all go fucking crazy, and it goes extremely dark, and then there's no more funny slice of life bullshit after that.
I feel like
they all fall into madness.
But like I feel like Madoka Magica spaced out its like tones better. Like you didn't hard cut from like hyper violence to like silly slapstick stuff. And even then Madoka Magica was hardly like hyper violent. Like it was pretty tasteful as far as like the gore was concerned.
Yeah, so there was a lot of adult subject matter, but it was,
all right.
This is way more like Code Geass, where they go from like genocide in the ghetto to the next scene is like half-naked girls showering in the school.
Yes.
I feel like Code Geass didn't go nearly as dark as Madoka in this, though. Like,
Code Geass
I know you just
edgy.
said genocide, but I feel like Code Geass sort of puts that in the background, which makes it a bit less serious.
Yeah, it wasn't as upfront with its edginess. I mean, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Code Geass presents itself differently. I agree. Like the presentation of the darker elements it's not as visceral as it is in Elfen Lied. But again, going with Madoka, like the violence was never that hyper detailed. Like the most gory thing that happens is one character getting like her head bitten off, but it's not like you see like a geyser of blood. You don't even see like the head separation.
It's actually
cut off by the screen itself. So it's
Why
not
do I-
you can't you don't even see it.
I distinctly recall Madoka Magica being very visceral. I guess I'm just wrong, though.
I don't know where you got that from, but like that's not how the show was.
I think that's actually a point in Madoka's favor, that it made you remember it as that, even though it doesn't show any violence.
Its violence was pretty subtle.
I suppose Madoka is superior to Elfen Lied in that regard. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Although maybe expect Madoka Magica talk to come to crop up again.
So one thing that really bothers me about Elfen Lied is that it has all these plot holes, right? Like it's constant. So in the first episode, they make it very clear that they have a high caliber rifle that shoots anti-tank bullets that the vectors cannot stop. And this is the only time that this rifle is used. And there's no explanation given as to why it's never reused again to
Doesn't
take
she
down
grab
Lucy.
it?
No, she's in the first episode. They use it to shoot off her helmet.
Oh, but wait, when Cyborg Man comes, he shoots little girl, and she grabs it, and he's like,
exactly.
"This is a super
that's the
bullet."
thing. They don't use. They use it in the beginning. Then they have the soldier guy go after Lucy. He doesn't have the gun then, even though they should have equipped him with it because they want him to kill her or bring her in or whatever. And then later, when after he gets defeated and reassembled, then they give him that gun and he uses it, I think, on 7. And then later, when he comes back, he doesn't have the gun anymore, and so then he's useless like usual. So it's like, what are we doing?
But there's like several scenarios, like not several, but there are more than one scenario where like you would think they would equip these people with the proper stuff. Because, like, they've been studying the diclonius for, like, how many fucking years, right? Like, and Lucy specifically, you'd think they would know how to take them down. And they just, like, trip over their own dicks every time.
Yeah, but they just bring 30 soldiers that shoot ineffective rifles. For some reason.
Pretty much.
It's just so we can have more gore, I guess. Like, the gore is so over the top that it ended up meaning anything. And it's just faceless soldiers that get ripped apart.
No, yeah, it honestly, like, it just makes me laugh whenever I see it because it's just so over the top. It's just like geysers of blood constantly.
Yeah.
Which again, just class. So like, yeah, we have all this stuff with like the company and the facility and just like the super hyper serious stuff, and then it will cut to like, oh, Koda's in his house and he's like, oh no, his cousin, she's in love with him, and she's having a lot of trouble expressing her feelings.
Yes. She also doesn't give up at any point, like just accepts it and moves on. She's just she's kind of tsundere, right?
Yeah, kind of.
But also
so,
she's an awful person who just keeps being passive aggressive instead of just telling him.
There's literally a scene where the two of them are making out, and then she like, because it's raining or whatever, she like slips and falls, and like he can see her underwear, and then she's like punches him for it, and it's like, so you were okay like swapping spit with him like literally a second ago, but oh no, he saw your panties, so you have to punch him. Like, yeah, it's just so silly.
The entire slice of life thing it clashes so much with the diclonius story and all the evil doctors and whatever the fuck. It just doesn't connect. It doesn't connect, and that's why they have to write Lucy as turning into another person half the time, because otherwise those stories wouldn't fit together at all.
No, I agree. It's like they want, like the author wanted to have his cake and eat it too, right? Like I think it was trying to bring in like both audiences, like people who want like the hyper like violence, the crazy over the top, like, you know, little girls that are blowing people up. Oh my God. And then they also are like trying to bring in other people who are like, oh, but I like when they're at the house and it's silly. but it just doesn't work.
There's some thematic through line, I think, with like girls not having a father figure to look up to, and like the little girls that move in with Kota and whatever the cousin is, they kind of see them as their parents.
Yeah,
But that's sort of thrown in at the end, and I'm not even gonna dignify that with a discussion, honestly. Not this show.
not even gonna dignify it with a discussion.
Have you guys seen
we're in.
Have you guys seen that meme where it's like family 2025 and it's like masculine mom dad, something daughter and woke dog? I feel like that sort of maps on pretty nicely because Kota he's like a mom dad, and I think what's her name?
Yuka?
Lucy.
Lucy?
I think it's like neurodivergent daughter or something like that. And they even have the dog.
No, the dog gets taken away.
How is the dog woke? Also, no, the dog doesn't get taken away. Initially, Mayu does give the dog back to the owner, but the dog clearly was more happy with Mayu, so the dog came back to Mayu.
Oh, did the dog come back?
Yeah, man.
I don't remember that.
Was it the same dog that was killed, or was that a different dog? Also, what the hell was with that? Because it felt like... Okay, so there's a flashback. I'm joking, obviously. But there's a flashback where Lucy has a dog at school, and the dog is killed for no reason. And I was watching that, and I'm like...
Oh, no, there is a reason. It's just really stupid.
Yeah, but I was watching that, and I was like, wait a minute. Did you just soft-run Lucy's backstory with Mayu? Where it's like, abandoned girl, lives on the street, is made to go to school, people are mean to her, but she has a dog. It's like, you've just repackaged this same story. I
guess that's true, yeah.
But the twist is that these little kids who are psychos for no reason. There's never any reason given. Because I feel like to go as far as to kill a puppy, you would have to be a fucking little psycho. I'm sorry. I know that little kids can be terrors, but
not like this.
Most little kids are not that bad.
Yeah.
So there's clearly something wrong with these fucking kids, and there's no explanation. There's no explanation given.
There is an explanation.
No, there's an explanation. It's shit manipulative writing, and it happened multiple times.
No, in the story, there's an explanation. Lucy has horns. And because she has horns, they're going to kill her dog.
She's extremely attractive. I guess I shouldn't talk about attractive with children, even though the show does it. But she looks like she would be very popular, honestly. She doesn't look like someone who people would pick on.
Okay, but she has horns.
Horns that also look like cat ears for some reason. It's, I don't know. These little horns, they don't turn her into a monster visually, clearly.
Yeah, but, if you were walking around and you just saw, a person with horns that look like hers in real life...
Then you would kill their dog?
No, I wouldn't kill their dog, but I'm saying you would treat them differently. You'd be like, what's wrong with you? Why do you have horns? That's not normal.
Yeah, but that's not what they did. They went way further.
No, of course.
But this is the thing where this show is so manipulative.
It is extremely.
It is in this flashback. It's supposed to explain how Lucy turned into a monster, and it's just she doesn't have any good experiences with other humans, and to bring that point across, they just take a sledgehammer and literally and murder a dog with it. These bully children, they literally take a dog and murder it with a vase while she's forced to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's this other scene that I also talked about in the Discord chat where she goes to the festival to see Kota and she gets her heart broken because Kota is with the cousin. Yes. And then these people around her, this fat drunk guy, bumps into her. Even though nobody is around, this fat guy fat guy just bumps into her and throws her to the ground. And instead of saying, "Oh, sorry, little girl," yeah, let me help you up. He starts shit talking her, and then all the people around, like there are fucking women there at the festival that see a little child on the ground just got toppled over by a fat guy, and instead of going there and say, "Oh, can I help you up?" they start shit talking her as well. Create this stupid
they didn't
situation.
just shit talk her. They didn't just shit talk her. They said that she was on drugs, which makes no sense.
No,
this is Japan.
They make fun of her, and then so just to create this situation where she then just loses it and kills everybody around. Yeah. It's so dumb.
So, obviously, I've never been to Japan, but, the impression that I've always gotten is that people in Japan are, hyper cordial. So, this behavior doesn't, maybe I'm just, maybe I should go to Japan. Maybe there are more people like that. I don't know. But, at least with the impression that I've always gotten of what, generally speaking, Japanese people act like, does not,
I don't think there's any place in the world where a child is just pushed by a gigantic, disgusting, angry man, and people are like, "Yeah, let's take his side."
Yeah. And then remember, she was lying on the ground, face down in the mud, and nobody deigned to just help this little kid up. Nobody around.
Literally no one.
Is there anything in the story? Is there anything in the story about how having the vectors just makes people dislike you?
No, because you can't see the vectors. They're invisible.
No, but I mean just radiation or something. It's just it sends some pheromone or something into people that immediately just makes them not like you.
No.
No, it's nothing like that.
Okay.
I did want to touch on this.
Wouldn't it?
It would have made a little bit more sense. But so what we are told is that the diclonius have a natural proclivity to want to kill humans. They have this, it's within their nature almost. And that is actually something that I think is kind of interesting, but I think the show also fumbles the bag. So when we had that scene with the dog and we have Lucy, she goes into her mindscape and it looks like she's talking to another version of herself with her face bandaged up. So that to me sounds like, okay, it's the human Lucy talking to the diclonius and, side of her, right? The diclonius side of her is saying, we need to kill these fucking kids because they killed this dog and we love that dog, so we got to fucking kill them. Right?
I wonder, I wonder though do they actually have this proclivity to killing people, or is it so they killed her dog, and so she got really angry and wanted to kill them back. And because she has the power to do it, she, eventually does kill somebody. And they're like, aha, see, they have a natural proclivity to do it. And it's no, you guys are just treating them like assholes. Of course they're going to fight back. Yeah,
they're putting them through experiments in a secret laboratory. Of course they're going to hate everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, they're emotionally neglected children.
There's this 7 character in the show who does not have this proclivity. She's just a nice girl.
Nana,
yeah.
So Nana does have one moment when she's fighting Bando where she's fighting him, and because she gets hurt fighting him, she has a moment where she snaps and she's like, I want to kill everyone now. But then she snaps back out of it. She's like, oh wait, no, I don't feel that way.
Yeah, great.
So it does seem to me that there is some sort of inherent bias that they have against humans. It's just, it does seem like it's something in their nature. But humans are obviously not making it easy for themselves because they do constantly treat them like shit.
Look, if they actually have that inclination, and maybe this is outside the scope of this extravaganza, but if they have that inclination, just kill them, right?
I was just thinking the same thing, yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Because I feel like the show's also trying to talk about child trauma. So now we have to ask the question, is Lucy the way she is because she was traumatized as a kid, or is she the way she is because she's a diclonius? And if we have to ask that question, then what the fuck is it trying to say about child trauma then?
I mean, yeah, especially because there's this other character. What is it, Mayu?
Mayu.
Who is not like that at all. I mean, she's not a diclonius, but
She's not.
her episode where they show her backstory, that was also one of those extremely manipulative things. Like, everything bad that can happen to a child happened to her. Like, her father was abusing her sexually.
Her mother was abusing her.
Her mother was like, yeah, fuck you. I don't even want you. Don't give a shit. And then she gets thrown out. She's living on the street. And then she has this dog that comes to her, and she's taking care of the dog. You know, she's so nice. She even shares her food, how little she has with the dog. And then the fucking dog gets taken away as well by this really rude woman.
She was such a cunt.
Yeah.
For no reason. She just like snatches the dog away from her. She was like, "Oh, James," and she was like, "But can I still see the dog?" And she was like,
"No, you stink.
You're so dirty."
Fucking, yeah. It's like, are we speed running human misery here, or what's going on? I don't get it.
I like when they first meet her, and she's like, I'll pay you back. I'll try to pay you back." And it's like, "You don't have any money. You don't have any money." It's like, I feel so bad. Maybe the reason I didn't hate it as much as you guys did is that I just connect more to the suffering of these characters.
Yes.
I want to say that you didn't. I want to say that it was the music that did a lot of heavy lifting.
Is
the main theme, so the opening theme is also the main theme of the show. And it's a good song.
It's a good song.
And that's why they reuse it constantly throughout the show. They'll use, because they know that it's like, if they just put that track during a really emotional moment, it tugs on your heartstrings. It works.
But I'm gonna say I like the intro song, but it is as pretentious as the show itself. It's like, this
the Latin singing,
epic Latin singing. Latin for some reason.
I don't
talking
know.
about Lucy, or whatever it says. I don't even know anymore.
I mean, I didn't pay attention to the Latin lyrics.
I read them sometimes, but I forget. It's like, oh, innocent Lucy, oh, sweet Lucy, whatever the fuck.
Okay, that's interesting, because the version that I saw just put what the words were in Latin. I didn't get a translation.
Okay.
So I didn't know that the song was made. Because normally anime openings are like songs made by like rock bands in Japan, and they're just, they'll just take like a random song from a band, or sometimes the band will make the song for the show. But
no, but you get this here in the end. The ending theme is this generic J-rock that doesn't fit the show in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right.
You will literally have an episode end with somebody getting brutally murdered and some bad reveal, and then generic J-rock starts happening.
Yeah, this upbeat sort of like poppy J-rock.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Which, to be fair, is not uncommon for anime. I mean, like Jujutsu Kaisen, has this Lost in Paradise thing.
That song's a banger, though.
That song is a banger. The show can end very, very badly sometimes, like really bad shit is happening and then we go into Lost in Paradise, but I don't know.
I've only seen 9 episodes.
I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't pretend to be something that it isn't. Like
Death Note's second opening was atrocious. Do you guys remember that?
Was it the death metal?
Screaming into the microphone.
Yeah.
Da fucker.
Yeah.
But that was different, at least. That was something that I hadn't heard before.
I think I liked the first opening more, though. It was a better song.
Death Note. Oh, yeah. It was really good. It was like, I like that opening. The second one is just like, like a knife in my ear.
I can agree with that. So I think we should talk a little bit about Kurama, because I think we alluded to him being one of the only things in this show that you could call well written.
Wait, can I complain a bit more about plot holes while we are still on the plot?
Please.
It's just,
go for it.
There's so much shit that is so poorly written. The fact that they don't go to the police after they find this girl and just take her in, and then don't trust the police. that was driving me nuts from the beginning.
I think that was because Kota in the beginning talked to those detectives, and he realized that those detectives were lying to him. So I think after that, Kota was not trustworthy of the police in general.
I guess. Is that enough? Are they like, they're really like, okay, we're gonna take in this child that has no, like, we don't know where the parents are, but we're just gonna take her in and don't notify anybody?
I'm not saying it's a good excuse. I'm saying that's the excuse that the show
They
is probably
tried to
using.
push the police a little bit, but the police also wasn't that, like, I don't know. The police guys also were kind of just doing their job.
I think they were also trying to push this idea that Kota is a type of person that when he sees someone in need, he feels this compulsion to help them.
Yeah, except when he bitch slaps them. Sometimes.
He's also a child.
He's also
It's
a
like-
child.
It's a
And
lot
they're
like
living
Monster.
they're living in this giant hotel that they somehow take care of.
Except even the show kind of goes against that, because then he left Lucy with that really shady professor,
Oh yeah, that's true too.
which was also incredibly contrived.
Yes.
So I had no idea why they decided to bring Lucy to school. Like, why did they do that? Why not just leave her at home?
Yep.
It's kind
Why?
of like it reminds me of Monster, where Dr. Tenma, he would always like he'd find himself in a new town and he'd always like try to help people and like fix their shit. Kota is like, he's trying to do the same thing, but he's an idiot. And he doesn't have the ability to actually help anybody.
He is certainly no Dr. Tenma. I can agree with that.
He is no Dr. Tenma. Dr. Tenma would have sorted those little girls out, let me tell you. If Dr. Tenma had been the protagonist, this would have been a better show.
Okay, that you can say that for just about any show, honestly.
Yeah, because he's a
But
genuinely
you're
great
totally
character.
right, Daniel. You're totally right that he doesn't trust the police people for a very flimsy reason, and then he just implicitly trusts this doctor guy. It just is like, so he's like, what, brother or father or something? He lies about being related to Lucy. And
Okay, but can we also just talk about how contrived it is that they just so happen to have the same class with this guy who happens to be the son of the guy that owns the facility?
oh yeah. Oh, you want to talk about Contrived? Remember when he comes back to get Lucy back from the doctor and his assistant just takes him down into the secret lab without asking any questions? It's terrible. It's so poorly written in every episode.
The only interesting thing I think came from that is like when Yuka asks Kota what happened to Lucy, like after they left her with the professor. He tries to remember like what happened because he saw his dead body and his head cut off, and then when he tries to remember, he blanks out, and then he goes like, "Oh, what was I saying just now?" So like I'm like, okay, that's at least kind of interesting. All right, he's again, this is the writer trying to say something about trauma and how it affects you, but he doesn't stick the landing. He doesn't actually say anything with this.
No.
Like, what does he mean? What is meaningfully being conveyed? I don't know.
Yeah. No idea.
So whenever I think about, because obviously like I don't know much about the mangaka. Like I haven't read any interviews or anything. So maybe there's something out there that will help me understand better. But like, I don't know if it's that he has something to say and he doesn't know how to say it, or he doesn't know what he's trying to say, but he feels like he has a lot to say about a lot of things, because the show tries to tackle so many different topics constantly. Like it feels like there's like every episode like introduces a new theme of some sort, but like it doesn't meaningfully do anything with any of these themes. Like you could say that a lot of the slice of life stuff has to do with found family. Again, we've talked about trauma and we've talked about triggers. We talk about split personality. The fragility of the human psyche, or even like the fragility of a child's psyche and the effects that trauma have. It's again, I guess that's tying back to trauma, but whatever. Like, the point is, like, it's trying to deal with all these heavy topics, and it's trying to say something about all of them, but it ends up not really saying anything.
No, because no person acts like a real person.
One friend of mine, shout out to my friend Gabe, he thinks that what Elfen Lied is trying to say is that everyone has the capacity for evil. And I think if there is any one theme that the show has that you could argue that it might be successful at, it might be that.
Is it?
So, one moment in particular that sticks out in my mind where I was like, okay, this was actually a really well-executed, like, moment, if this is the theme. So, you remember Marika, she's the director's daughter, Karama.
Yeah.
And she's the ultimate diclonius girl. She has, like, all the crazy arms and stuff. So in the facility, she's being held, and it's this giant fucking metal, like, casing, because she's so fucking powerful, like, they need to, like, keep her stuck in there. But apparently this whole time, she had been talking to this one girl, I think her name is Saito, and she even calls her mommy the whole time. So, like, and she seemed like she was genuinely excited to finally meet her for the first time and to see her. And she was like, oh, I'm going to see my long-lost daughter. And, which, to your point, Bouken, the show is very manipulative because it was super obvious that this girl was going to get fucking, like, eviscerated immediately. And that's exactly what happened. Like, she's like, oh, I'm your mommy. And the girl goes, no, you're not. Blows up her torso.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting is, I guess I don't think it makes any sense, but apparently she blew her up so hard and her torso flew into one of the consoles. And with her last dying breath, she pressed a button that helped them subdue the girl.
Yes. And she was cut in half at this point, and I don't know how she was still alive to do that, but yeah.
So even though the show tried to establish that these two have this, like, really meaningful bond, like, it didn't actually seem to mean anything, and she was still willing to, like, screw her over. Granted, she was blown in half. But I think that's what I think that does tie into this idea of, like, everyone's capable of doing something evil, even people that mean something to each other. Although I guess you could argue that this person didn't mean anything to Marika.
But if that is the theme, I don't know, then Mayu doesn't fit it at all. I mean, everything bad happened to her, and she's still an angel. Kota,
she is an angel.
Kota is not evil. No. Her cousin isn't, I mean, she's just annoying and dumb, but she isn't evil.
But yeah, she's not evil.
It's like, you could do, if that is the theme, you could do something with those characters, but you didn't.
Yeah, and again, that's why I just think the show is very confused.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because that could be an interesting theme if it was developed properly. But again, the show suffers from trying to say too many things and not giving anything a chance to breathe and not really, like, letting anything be fleshed out properly. Because the show's only, like, 13 episodes, not counting the OVA, which is pointless.
Yep.
There's an OVA?
You didn't watch the OVA?
It's a one-episode OVA. It's completely meaningless. It doesn't add anything.
Oh.
That was your homework, dude. I'm giving you an F.
Okay.
See you after class.
There was one really, really funny scene in the OVA because Lucy is in, like, a warehouse or something. She's talking to a little girl and they're having, like, a conversation. And then, like, out of nowhere, the entire room is filled with soldiers. And I was like, how did they not notice all these soldiers? All of it's because it's just like they snuck up on them. And it's like the room is completely filled with soldiers. It's like, how did they not notice? Oh, this show's so bad.
Yep.
It's not great.
It's not good.
That's not great.
Was there something else you wanted to complain about, Boken?
It's just also that. Oh yeah, the other thing that was driving me crazy, and I was like taking one of those notes per episode, is when Nana joins the group and lives in the harem, right? At no point does she warn them about the fact that Lucy is actually a dangerous clone. And I don't get it. She talks around it. She doesn't tell them, like, be careful. This girl could actually kill you at some point if something happens. She clearly understands what's going on to a degree, but she keeps it to herself. Eventually she tells Mayu about it, and Mayu also doesn't tell anybody. It was driving me crazy.
So I think Nana had kind of an excuse. It's because the director told her not to say anything about it. But you're right that Mayu had no excuse not to say anything. I think Mayu just didn't believe her because to her, Niu is just so innocent.
I don't know. But Nana also... But she's clearly friends and she likes Kota and the cousin.
Sure.
And so then you're not going to warn them about this? Like, one wrong move and they're dead, basically.
I mean, this is also a character that didn't know how money worked, so she's...
Yeah.
I mean, that's just due to her ignorance. She didn't know any better.
I thought that was a really endearing sequence where she's like burning up the money to keep a campfire lit. I thought that was really cute.
It was cute. It was a waste of time, though.
Yeah, this guy. Sometimes nothing can just be cute, you know?
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't think it's a waste of time.
It's time for me to come to bat for the show that I didn't really like.
I'm with Acer on this. I feel like not every single thing that happens in a show has to be like plot specific. You can have moments in the show that say something about the characters, right? Like, and that's just supposed to be a cute moment for her.
You can have that, but the main problem of the show is that you basically, if I would rewrite this, I would just cut out everything about that house. I would just focus on the doctor and the facility and the research, because that's clearly the more important story to tell. And the other shit is just at odds.
Does this have fans?
Yes.
What do they say?
What do you think? They think it's awesome.
Hold on. I'm gonna do some research.
What do you mean?
Checking the comments on something?
No, you guys keep talking. I'm gonna go see if it really has fans.
It does. I promise you.
I can believe that it has fans.
So, like, Elfen Lied in particular was actually quite popular in the mid-2000s. And, yes. And I think a big reason for why that was the case is because you have to think about it, because it's nowadays it's very different. Anime is much more accepted. Anime isn't just seen as, like, for little kids anymore. In the mid-2000s, in particular, a lot of anime fans had a chip on their shoulder because they were heavily invested in anime, but they would always be looked down upon because anime was seen as this. It was not seen as being any different as like Fred Flintstone, you know, like it wasn't seen as being any different from like some slapstick Looney Tunes stuff for kids. So a lot of edgy teenagers latched onto a show like Elfen Lied because it made them feel mature. And that's another big problem with how Elfen Lied presents itself. It is a show that drapes itself with the appearance of maturity without actually understanding what it means to convey a meaningfully mature story. It is a literal 14-year-old's interpretation of maturity.
Okay, because I also wanted to talk about this, and I was wondering, like, is the only thing where I could imagine this as fans is just, I mean, it came out in 2004, and maybe nothing like that was around in 2004, and so I kind of wanted to check what other animes were out at that point. I mean, I would argue, I think X came out for this, which is way better. And also,
X is way better, yeah.
Also mature. But otherwise, I'm not sure what kind of anime was around. So for a lot of people, maybe this was like mind-blowing that you can have so much gore in an anime.
It definitely was. Like, I feel like this show was like a shock to people's systems because, like, it isn't just gory foreign anime. It's gory in a general sense. Like, the only other thing I can think of that would have this level of gore, it would be like slasher films.
No.
And even then, I don't think they tend to be this gory, like this over the top. Like, your typical horror, like slasher film, you'll see someone like, maybe they'll get chopped up into pieces or something. But like, Elfen Lied lets you see like the actual insides and organs spilling out and like the bone and meat in people's bodies. Like, this is hyper detailed gore that a lot of people, particularly at the time, were not used to. And even still, like, I can't think of a lot of things that have come out since Elfen Lied that are this over the top, like, gory and violent.
I just went to the subreddit, and all of the posts there are just like naked
Glazing?
girls doing cosplay or fan art.
Ew, 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 ew.
No, that's fine. The girls are not like 12 years old or whatever doing the cosplay.
Oh, sure.
I'm looking at anime that came out in 2004, and I guess a lot of it is kind of childish, but there's also Monster. There's Samurai Champloo.
Yeah, but Monster is actually mature.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is Elfen Lied pretends to be mature by having, like, all this over-the-top violence, while, like, the kid that would watch Elfen Lied, that would be attracted to it, wouldn't want to watch Monster because they think Monster is boring.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's exactly. But that's my point. Is like, okay, why does it have fans today? Like, okay, if you're a dumb teenager and you grew up with it, sure. But then at some point, maybe you rewatch it and you realize it's just shit. Meanwhile, you have shit in here in 2004, like Monster, like Samurai Champloo. That's very adult shows that actually hold up, you know?
Full Metal Alchemist 2003, that was around that time.
Much better show.
That's also pretty gory.
Ghost in the Shell was before this. Vision of Escaflowne was before this. X was before this.
Wicked City.
Is Lucy the blueprint for the girl in Darling in the Franxx?
Oh, you might have a point there.
I'm not sure.
Also, Anya from Spy Family. She has like pink hair and little cat hairs.
No,
cat ears.
No.
No.
Anya's a cute little pumpkin. Don't drag her into this.
But yeah, Darling in the Franxx, Bogan. Did you get any vibe? Do you get the vibes that Darling in the Franxx may have cribbed from this?
I guess
you watched
a little
that
bit.
Week to week, didn't you?
Yes. I'm on my 30th rerun right now.
Wait, you're watching it a third time?
The 30th time.
The 30th time?
This guy doesn't get the joke, Aesir. I think he's dumb.
Am I just dumb?
No, but I'm asking, Bogan, you watched that as it was coming out, didn't you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, there's so much dumb, lecherous anime. I don't know if I can pinpoint it to this specifically.
I don't know. I feel like I see it, though. Because, like, what's her name? 02?
Yes.
I don't even remember.
Your name is 02.
I don't remember anything about that show.
Didn't you watch the show 30 times?
That was a joke, you jackass.
I know it was a joke.
That was also a joke, Bogan. Gee.
I guess I'm the jackass.
No, because, like, doesn't she get naked all the time as well?
Yeah. That's part of the Titan design.
There's another girl who's like, why are you in love with that girl? You should be in love with me.
Yuka.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has, like, short black hair.
In Darling in the Franxx? Or?
In Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah, and Darling in the Flank, she has
Okay.
short black hair. And
Wow,
she's
you guys know way more about the show than I do.
I've seen so many memes.
I've only seen memes, and I saw, like, the first episode, and I tapped out.
I saw a video that had been fan dubbed where 02 is talking to some girl, and she calls her Ichi Ho. Is there a girl called like Ichigo or something?
Yeah, okay, whatever. I only want to talk about Darling in the Franxx because in the last 5 episodes, it goes off a cliff in a fashion I've never seen before.
Is this foreshadowing, Bouken?
Maybe.
No.
Okay, so let's talk about the Doctor. Let's talk about the whole diclonius thing.
Okay. So, we've said it a couple of times before, but I think he's the best written character in the show.
Yep.
Which isn't saying much, but it's something. And I feel like his character works because, like, his story is tragic, just like every fucking character's story is tragic. But I at least felt like every step of the way we take with him, everything he does makes sense. And his tragedies feel like somewhat relatable to an extent, and that like the stuff that happens to him, it's explained. There's a lot of stuff in the show that doesn't get explained very well, but like the stuff that happens to him, it's like it's explained well enough. You're like, okay, you can follow along, and when you see his story's conclusion, you're like, okay, this was a complete story for this character. His wife gave birth to a diclonius, Marika. He, before that, was responsible for aborting like a bunch of other diclonius girls, and he felt like really shitty about that. But then he has to face the hypocrisy of like he was willing to do it for like other people, but he couldn't do it for his own daughter. I think that's why he, in particular, wanted to take care of Nana, because I guess that was like kind of his way of making up for like his sins. And then towards the end, he ends up dying with his daughter to kind of like atone for what he's done, not just to like the other diclonius girls that he had to like abort, but also the fact that he was not in Marika's life and felt like just a lot of guilt for that. So
yeah, saves the world, is like there for her, and then blows him and her up in order to repent. And yeah, I understood his motivations, and I understood what they were doing with him. And he's like the only character in the show that is actually trying to achieve anything. Because everybody else is just, everything happens to them. But this character actually tries to do something about the problem.
Yeah. Kota, for example, is very reactive.
Yeah.
While
Kota is a gigantic bitch.
While the director's proactive. Yes, he's a giant bitch. I agree.
I have the comment section here where some guy is gassing Elfen Lied up like you wouldn't believe. Do you guys want to do that now, or do you want to go talk about the Doctor a bit more?
What? You already brought it up, so might as well.
Yeah.
All right. So this is on some thread on Reddit. It's about why people don't like Elfen Lied, why it gets a bad rap. And one commenter is like, why don't people like it? And here's the response. To be honest, these days it's mostly because people listen to the meme opinions about it. It's bad, shallow, and edgy, and don't think for themselves. In the past, when Elfen Lied first got popular, one of the biggest reasons why is because it was so highly rated and considered an incredible anime. It was the first mature anime that got viral popular, and many people had not been exposed to such anime at the time. Elfen Lied was deep, complex, and emotionally powerful after they were drawn in by the strange gore and nudity clips.
No.
Well, some people didn't like that uncomfortable stuff and started saying it was ecchi and bad to cope. It became a meme, and now that's what people first hear about it, and they pretend it's an accurate opinion instead of thinking for themselves.
Yes.
And some guy replies and he's like, I'm trying to watch it, but it kind of falls flat. I was going to give it some chances. And he's like, it just didn't work for me. And the guy commented, okay, well, watch more than the first episode. But then again, don't bother. You've already made up your mind, so any more is just pointless. I really
What an
disdain people.
asshole.
I really disdain people like you who make up their minds so quickly and without much input. And the guy's like, I'm 6 episodes in and still trying.
That's half the show.
What an asshole. I mean, I've seen the show 3 fucking times. And I think this is one of the worst fucking things I've ever seen.
No. No, see, I think there is enough stuff in there that is so defensible. I think this is just, like, I think this is fine.
No.
It's not good.
No.
But, like, there's a lot of stuff in there where I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's like saying, yeah, that could be interesting. That could be a cool story, but it isn't. It's not developed.
I don't think it gets brownie points because it has the potential to be good.
I didn't want to say this, but I think you guys are shitting on it because there's a lot of women in the show.
Oh my god, shut up.
I think I'm much more sensitive to the struggles of women, and that's probably why I understand the show in a way you never could.
I don't think the writer understands the plight of women either. He's a fucking, like, probably, well, I shouldn't make assumptions about the author, but he is just like a Japanese guy. Like,
Oh, God.
A Japanese guy can understand women. What is this?
I don't know.
I feel like Daniel was about to accuse the mangaka of something here.
I mean, I do remember, so, like, I don't know if you guys have watched this YouTuber named Hazel.
No.
She makes really good content. One of her first videos was actually like a 2-hour video on Elfen Lied. But I saw the video like 3 years ago. And I want to say I remember her pointing out some like very, very questionable tweets made by the mangaka. So I don't... that's why I'm like very careful about my words right now, because I don't specifically remember what he said.
All right.
So that's why I was coming at him, but then I stopped. Now I'm like, wait, I don't have all my facts, so I'm not gonna say anything. But I got my eye on you, Lynn.
Lynn?
That's his name.
So, Acer,
Yes.
can you enlighten me? What exactly are the scientists trying to do? Where did the diclonius come from? And why does it matter that it turns out that the director of the scientists is also a diclonius? What are they trying to achieve?
Okay, I can enlighten you about this, but first you need to tell me something. Are there real answers, or is this one of these trick questions?
I am legitimately curious because I didn't get it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of assuming you didn't get it either because it's probably not on the show.
No, so...
But I want to talk about it.
Okay, I'll enlighten you about it. So, the facility is creating dicloniuses because the director or the owner of the company is like a horned goblin man, and he wants to destroy humankind. He believes in, like, evolution. And he thinks dicloniuses are the best way of evolution and destroy mankind. And then he takes off his wig, and he has horns.
Okay, I have a follow-up question, if I may.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
If their goal is to kill humanity, why are they keeping the diclonius in brutal experiments instead of setting them free?
Oh,
because clearly they can't be stopped by anybody.
Yes. What's your question?
What I just asked. Why are they doing these experiments if the guy who orchestrates it all is also diclonius and wants to kill humanity?
Oh yeah. He's also a diclonius.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be in his best interest
My
to
God.
like not? Because like he seems pretty okay with just killing diclonius. Like he's just like he's like, oh yeah, just kill Nana, whatever. I don't care. Just get rid of her.
No, just treat them properly, have them ally with you, and then take over the world. Because clearly nobody is capable of stopping them. The only thing that can stop them is a weapon that they have.
Is it possible for a boy to be like, because the guys who have horns, they're not shown to have any powers. Are the powers only with women?
Apparently, it's also not explained. But him and the other scientist guy didn't have powers.
So I want to say the reveal at the end existed simply as sequel bait, either sequel bait or manga bait. I'm leaning more towards manga bait because when they ended the show, they just said the end. They never said like to be continued. So maybe they intended to make a season 2, but they never did. But like, it seemed pretty clear to me it was like a last minute thing to just like, okay, because like at the end of the day, I think people tend to forget this, but like anime are like glorified trailers for manga.
Oh, yes.
So that would have been like a big hook of like, oh, what does that mean? I need to read the manga to find out. And another big hook would be, at the very end, is that Lucy or is that new? What does the ending mean? Is the Lucy personality gone? Is it just, or is the new personality gone and it's only Lucy? I need to read the manga.
Imagine what a sucky story it would be if it's like, yeah, Lucy, the real personality, she's gone. She's just like this half brain dead cat girl now.
Yeah.
What else? No, but I don't know if that is it's probably sequel bait because, or like just, oh my god, what could it mean, the ending? Because I think the manga, I think they diverge prior to that sort of final shootout.
Okay. I don't know if it did or not.
I don't know. That reveal means nothing to me because I can't make any sense of it.
I felt really bad for the scientist girl that he when he revealed the horns to her at the end. I felt just really bad for her throughout the whole show because like every time she's on screen, she just seems so pathetic. Like she gets shot at because like they wanted answers out of her for something, and she's like about to die, and she's like, "Is this all that's left for me? I'm just a virgin. I'm just gonna die on the floor like this." I was just like, "Why'd you do her so dirty?"
She was no threat to anyone.
Yeah, I know. I felt so bad. I was like, "Why would you do her so dirty like this?"
Yeah, it's all very strange, honestly.
But I think that's just a lot of the show. It is like you said, Bouken. A lot of it is like emotional manipulation. I don't know if the author thinks of it that way, though. I don't think the author was intending to be manipulative. I think he was just trying to tell a story that he thought would be emotional. It just, regardless of intent, though, that's how it comes across. It's like you're trying to cheaply manufacture these emotions out of me.
Yeah.
You know, rather than earn it.
Yeah, and then have this like, I don't know, Lucy and Kota at the end, like he forgives her for some reason, even though she killed people.
Yeah, I hated that. I hated that so much. I hated that so much that like, okay, so Kota and Lucy at the end, he finally hears the truth from her and he finally remembers, right, that she's the one that actually killed his sister and killed his dad. And he says that, I can't forgive you, but at the same time, I still love you. And then they make out. And I was like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is so bad.
No, not with her. Not with her. And what drove me nuts is like, this is, I feel, the biggest plot hole of it all. Is because Kota doesn't remember anything. I think they told him his sister and his father died in an accident.
Yes.
Right? And then he was in a hospital for a year and he doesn't remember anything, but this is what he goes on.
Yes.
But then it is revealed at the end that actually Yuka knows that they were murdered because clearly they were ripped apart, their heads were cut off or something in a train. Clearly it was a murder. Yes. And then also Lucy killed everybody at that festival. There was also a murder. And so how did everybody in the entire world keep it a secret from Coda? What actually happened? Like,
I mean, that's
was there
that's not something that would come up in normal conversation, and it's not like
No, but that would be one of the most grueling things to ever happen in Japan. It would be on the news constantly. Everybody would fucking talk about this. You cannot hide this information.
well, if he's in a coma for a year, then he's not gonna like that. By then, that like would have died down.
Dude,
Yeah, people would no longer care.
No, stop. Like 15 people or something were brutally ripped apart at a festival.
Yeah.
People would make up myths about whoever this murder is. Nobody knows who did it. Nobody knows what happened. This would fucking be a legend if that happened.
It wasn't even just that. It was also like Lucy going around in people's houses ripping people apart.
Oh, yeah. She killed so many people. Yeah. And they just found like ripped apart bodies that don't make sense in any real world sense. Like this would be one of the biggest things in Japan ever in the world.
No, there would be true crime podcasts that would exist solely, to talk about this. No, I get that, but like,
and somehow everybody kept this a secret from Kota.
I don't think it's necessarily that they kept it a secret. Well, some I guess the doctors did, but like I think
Yuka knew, and she never told him.
Well, why would she bring it up? Why would she be like, "Oh yeah, let's talk about your fucking sister being ripped apart in the train"?
Hey Kota, your sister didn't die in an accident. They were actually murdered. At some point, you might want to tell them that.
No, that's really insensitive.
Oh come on!
What do you mean? Oh come on! That's if something like that happened to my friend and he was saying shit like that, I wouldn't even know how to respond. I'd be like, okay, like I would just assume like they're so traumatized by what happened that they fabricated a different version to help them cope, and I would just be okay, whatever, leave them be.
What if Coda just didn't care? She was like, hey, so do you think they died in an accident? But I want to tell you what actually happened. And he was like, I don't care. The Nintendo 64 just came out. I'm going to play that instead.
Well, let's play Mario Kart instead.
Yeah, what if? What if that happened? It didn't. The whole world just kept this a secret from him for no reason.
Well, I feel like, people like... I don't know, man. I feel like people probably wouldn't care. Like that's in another town. That's the town over.
The show would be
who's to say that didn't happen by itself? Sometimes the human body just does that.
Yeah. Sometimes heads just come off of the bodies, like whatever.
Mm-hmm. The show would be way cooler if they actually told him that they were murdered and nobody knows who the murderer is, and he starts investigating on his own.
Oh, that would be way cooler.
Oh, that would be way cooler. Sounds more interesting.
Yeah.
But that would be like a totally different show.
Good.
Yeah, it would be a much better show. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up? I think we might be. I
mean, there's the OVA, which is really, I guess, not worth talking about. I feel like I've already forgotten the entire thing.
It's not worth talking about. I think we've touched on all like the most important details.
I was just with the OVA. Oh, this is something I wanted to ask because I actually still don't know what an OVA is or when it gets made. Like, I think it's original video.
Original video animation. It is basically like straight to DVD.
Okay. And who decide? Like, when is this made? Is this after the anime? Like, why do people decide we need to make an OVA?
I don't know. Because, like, you've seen Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That entire show is an OVA.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? The entire show was straight to DVD. Well, originally it was VHS, but then...
It didn't air in TV?
No.
Oh.
What?
See, okay, so here's the thing. This might be confusing you because straight to DVD has a negative connotation. But in Japan, it actually means a higher budget. because
Huh.
people see OVAs as more of like a sign of quality.
But the OVAs usually are like side stories or like addendums that often don't do anything, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, Gundam War in the Pocket is an OVA, and that's like one of the best Gundam anime. There's a lot of like,
Didn't I watch that?
Did you?
No.
I feel like you guys were talking about it, and
We
then
talked about
I
War in the
watched
Pocket,
it, didn't
yeah.
I?
No. I watched it and talked with Daniel about it. You watched another Gundam thing and then lied about actually watching it. Like you watched the first two episodes
Wow,
and then
pathetic.
something like that.
I think I watched Family Guy instead.
Oh my god.
It's good to pick up these jokes where we left off.
I don't know if OVAs are as much of a thing anymore, but like during like the 90s, like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, it was like way more of a thing. But I think nowadays it's kind of like outdated because of streaming.
I feel like at this point they just make movies instead.
Yeah, movies are just like put on streaming services.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I thought because you said like 80s, 90s, 2000s, but that I think it was a bigger thing. And then when you said, but now it's mostly over because of streaming, I thought you were going to be like, but now it's mostly over, because of Obama.
Thanks, Obama. I love that one meme of like someone's like riding their bicycle and they put like a steel rod in one of the wheels. They fall over. They like hurt their knee and they just say, "Thanks, Obama."
I guess that was Elfen Lied, huh?
Yeah. Trash. Straight in the dumpster. I never have to see it again.
Pretty bad.
If they do it again, if they adapt it again, and they do the full manga, would you guys dip back in?
Only if we do another episode like this. But that's the only way.
Let's do this positive thing where we all say one thing we liked about the show.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I liked a lot about the show.
Okay. Go for it.
I do think the visceral, brutal violence was cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I like this whole idea of like, yeah, we're genetically engineering these crazy girls and then we're just like emotionally neglecting them and then they turn out to be crazy, so we have to put them down. Like, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff with that.
It makes so much sense. It's such a great business decision.
I really can't explain how much I think this story sucks because of Coda. If he wasn't there, I think you just take that piece out, I think the entire machinery collapses into a much more beautiful story.
He's a little too integrated into the narrative, though. He's a big part.
Care.
He's a big part of Lucy's backstory. Like, I'm just saying, I do agree. I do think he's like the weakest link, but like the story would have to be rewritten in pretty drastically.
Yeah, that's fine. Rewrite it.
No, yeah, for sure.
What else do I like? Didn't like the nudity that much. There's a lot of like, oh no, I'm not trying to have sex with her. I'm just trying to put her pants on her. You accidentally walked in on us at the worst time.
Oh my god. I feel like I mentally blocked that stuff out. I didn't think about it at all talking about it, and then you brought it up. I'm like, oh yeah, that stuff sucks so bad. It's so cringe. I know that term is so overused. I know it's like kind of like people say it all the time, but like I don't know what else to say about it other than yeah, it's just really cringe. Whenever he has these like sexual situations with Lucy, and then his cousin walks in on him, and why does she have to be his cousin? Why?
Yeah.
Why incest?
Why is she so blocked off that he can't just say, hey, do you want to help me put pants on her? Like, she has to go into this overly dramatic reaction of like, oh no, you're not in love with me, you're in love with her. It's like, hey, jackass, she can't put clothes on herself. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah. I mean, Yuka is pretty... Coda is pretty bad, but I feel like Yuka in some ways is like even worse.
Oh, she's the worst.
Like,
And she's also even more pointless than him.
and I don't get it. Why couldn't she just be a childhood friend? Like, why did she have to be his cousin? Why? Why?
Hey, there's a lot of good stuff you can get from cousins.
Oh, shut up.
No, I'm joking.
Somehow the segment about saying something nice has turned into more complaints.
More complaining. Yeah.
I don't know how this happened.
I said a lot of nice stuff. Bouken, you say something nice.
Okay. I was honestly thinking about this, and the only thing I came up with is I like the intro song.
God damn it. That's what I was going to say.
Well, okay, I have one more for you.
Okay.
It's like the director guy is actually decently written.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to
Daniel.
find something else that we haven't talked about before that I liked about the show. But I honestly don't have anything.
Daniel, what original thing that hasn't been said before do you like about it?
I have no idea. I'm trying to think because there's not much. There's really not that much. Okay, the character art isn't that good, but the backgrounds, they're not amazingly drawn, but they look all right. They're
What is this? This is nothing. Give us a real thing you like. Talk about the cyborg guy. You like him.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right, Bando.
Why do you like... Oh, yeah.
I like Bando because he's so ridiculous. He almost feels like he's from a different show because he's so cartoonishly over the top and violent. Like he kind of like lives to fight.
He feels like a reoccurring character in a Devil May Cry game. You like kill him, and then he comes back and he's a bit more powerful, and you kill him again right away, and he's like this long arc against Dante.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about this character for a moment? Because this also, like, A, yeah, he's completely ridiculous. B, he gets easily beaten because he's completely useless. He's like the best soldier there is, but he gets just beaten.
He acts like a badass, but he's just constantly getting his shit wrecked.
Yeah, and then he comes back with a better gun, still doesn't get anything done, and then for the rest of the show, he just chills on this beach.
On the beach,
and
yeah.
Even though he's looking for Lucy, but he doesn't seem to move to anywhere else to find her. Like the doctor, like the director eventually finds him on the beach to tell him, like, hey, come with me, there's going to be a fight. And so he can be in the fight for like 1 second. And then he's gone again.
Yeah, his character is kind of worthless.
I didn't get it. Like, he was still on the beach the entire time. And there was actually a moment in the OVA where he comes back and he's still on the beach and he's shown cleaning up trash on the beach, saying...
Very, very out of character.
No. He's saying, now that all this trash is gone, this bitch can't fling it at me anymore.
Oh.
and that felt like... That honestly, to me, felt like the OVA was making fun of the character. Where, like, why... Like, somebody was like, why is this guy always on the beach? And so the OVA was like, yeah, guys, he was actually cleaning up the beach so that there's no more trash that Lucy can throw at her. That felt almost self-referential in a way.
Actually, wait. There's like a moment when he's fighting Nana in particular where he leads her to a certain part of the beach. And he's like, oh, do you realize why I brought you here? There's nothing you could use to throw at me.
Oh, God.
That's so fucking funny.
Is that his plan?
Yeah.
Is that his plan?
Yeah. That was his plan.
Is it?
That's
it hurts
great.
My brain.
I love this guy. He's great.
Oh, God.
I also really like the moment where he feels indebted to Mayu. So he gives her his number and he's like, okay, if somebody gives you any trouble, call me and I'll take care of it. But then he realizes that she knows where Lucy is. So he starts
Yeah.
mistreating her. And then she brings out the number and he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, a bad man is hurting me right now. And he's like, because he's a man of his word. So he's like, fuck.
Totally.
And then walks away.
Yeah, this murderous psychopath is totally a man of his word. He wouldn't just kill her. No, he's like, no, I can't be indebted to you, you little brat. Like, I'm gonna give you my number. So you can call me once, but never again. That's totally what he would do.
It's such a silly moment that it kind of endears me to him a little bit. Or I'm just like, this is so dumb, but like I kind of like it.
What a clown.
He is a clown.
What a clown of a character.
Yeah. He's evil and he loves it. You gotta respect that.
Okay.
All right, I think we're done. No, wow.
I think we're done.
Yeah. I think we've exhausted this show. All right. Well,
Yeah. Pretty good. Not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
6, maybe a strong 6, maybe 7 out of 10.
No, don't start with this shit again.
And this gets a 1 star from me.
A strong 6 or a light 7.
No. No.
This shit is a 1 star.
This is not a 1 star.
Of course it is.
Hey, what's the worst thing we've watched or read or played?
This.
You think so?
Probably this. Code Geass was better than this.
Code Geass was way better than this. It's not even close.
Okay, let's not get crazy here.
Code Geass stays winning.
Yeah, common
Dude,
stocks
no,
kept
come on.
Code
going up.
Geass W.
Okay, seriously. If you were given, it's gun to your head. If someone was like, you had to rewatch Elfen Lied or rewatch Code Geass, what would you pick?
Me?
Code Geass is Elfen Lied is at least shorter.
Yeah, Code Geass.
That's not true. Code Geass is much longer.
Yeah, Code Geass is like 50 episodes.
Yeah, I said
And the
Elfen Lied
movie.
is shorter.
Yeah, it's short.
Oh.
Yeah, it's shorter, but like,
So
it's
it's
like,
over quicker.
I guess, but it's also more miserable.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, I'm looking at all the extravaganzas we've done. Like, I mean, I guess Acer might fight with us a little bit, but like, you and I both agree that Madoka is like leaps and bounds better.
Yes.
It's like not
Madoka is
even
one of the
close.
best anime I know.
All right, obviously we're not Monster. Obviously, like
There's a lot of debate.
Watchmen. Come on,
No.
Gungrave.
Watchmen was better than this.
Come on,
Gungrave was better than
Contrived
this.
was better.
Spec Ops: The Line.
No, this is totally the worst thing we did.
All Star Superman.
I mean, I hated
better.
it, but I have to admit it was better than this.
Kara no Kyokai.
Also better.
That was better.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Way better.
Yeah, that was a bit better.
A bit. Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0.
Oh, shit. Oh, we have a
wait a
contender.
minute.
We have a contender, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, Bouken, are you actually saying?
I don't know if it's bad. Well, this is more fun than Season 0. Season 0, I don't think that was bad. I think that was just really dull.
I was
I
going to
think
say,
it was-
I think Season 0 is better, but like...
I think this is very close in terms of quality.
Really? Okay.
And in terms of annoying me, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, well then I guess Madoka Magica gets in the bottom barrel too.
No way. You don't even remember Madoka Magica properly.
I remember Madoka Magica.
You
There's a
don't.
guy who's like a cat. But he's not a cat. He's pretending to be a cat.
What? No, it's an
You're
actual
talking
cat.
about QB?
Yeah.
That's an alien cat.
And then she is like in a time loop and she's another girl. And you're like, oh, what? Why is he so dour and depressing? And there's like lore. They did a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember much.
They did a
I think
movie?
there's like a gate that opens.
Okay, what else did we do? There has to be-
We did Scott Pilgrim,
That was
No.
better.
Yes.
the Dark Knight trilogy.
All better.
Yes,
well,
that's better.
yeah, I get. Yeah.
What do you mean, well?
I mean, I was thinking about Batman Rises. No, what is it called? The Dark Knight
The Dark
Rises.
Knight Rises.
But that is, in terms of production quality and performance, is way better. Like,
Yeah. And the last thing we did was X.
yeah. Which I know Acer also hated, but come on.
In hindsight, I don't think I hated it as much. I think if I were to rewatch it, I'd get a lot more out of it.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, and that's it. I think we can safely say that Elfen Lied is the worst one that we've ever done out of any extravaganza.
Yes.
I mean, you two can overrule me. I have to honestly think about it if I hated this more or Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0.
Like, to me, Season 0 was just kind of mid. It was kind of just boring and forgettable. Elfen Lied makes me upset.
Well, what's the matter, consumer? Afraid you might feel something?
I guess so. I guess that guy, that random Redditor was right. I don't know how to deal with my feelings.
The other question would be, what was the best thing we watched?
Ooh.
Oh,
Probably Monster or Watchmen.
Those would have also been my two picks.
those are probably the best ones.
For me, it was probably Monster because I've read Watchmen like 100 times before, bringing it up here.
Yeah, okay.
I
guess I also have to give it to Avatar because that's one of my all-time favorite shows. But
yeah.
I'm in the same boat where I knew everything about it already.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of surprising me, it was definitely Monster or Watchmen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you guys really enjoyed Gungrave. Like, I think that one surprised you too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was not on the same quality level.
Sure, I'd say I agree that Monster is is a better show, but I still feel like Gungrave at its peak is like 11 out of 10. Like, the best moments of Gungrave are like truly spectacular. It's just not like the entirety. It's just not consistently good for its entire runtime. And like Monster is definitely a more consistently good show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to admit I barely remember anything about Gungrave at this point.
Oh no, that hurts. Well, it was like 4 years ago. I guess I can't be too mad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna watch Full Metal Alchemist and then reconvene.
And the movie
If
too.
this episode gets 100,000 views, we'll do the OVA.
Do you mean Conquer?
We'll do the manga.
Oh wait, when you say OVA, are you talking about Conqueror of Shambhala?
No, we were going to do that anyways. That's not an OVA. That's a movie.
Oh wait, so we're
That had a theatrical release.
so we're combining Conqueror of Shambhala with this. Okay.
Yes.
I thought we were.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what
I
we
like
said.
that movie. People shit on the Full Metal Alchemist movies. I think they're both pretty good.
I liked Conqueror more than Star of Mythos. I thought Star of Mythos was
Milos.
whatever. I didn't like Milos. I don't know. I liked Conqueror Shambhala the first time I watched it, but over time I started looking back on it more negatively because I liked the way that the show ended, and I feel like it didn't need to be like expanded on.
Mm-hmm. I watched the movie before I watched the show.
That's very strange.
Yeah, wrap your mind around that. Boy, was I surprised when I heard that there's an actual TV show about this movie. I was like, what? And I watched it, and then I watched the movie again, and I was like,
The movie makes more sense.
huh. I get these characters now. I get what's happening here.
I mean, I am interested to see how I feel about FMA going back to it, and because I think I literally haven't seen it in like over a decade. So that would be cool. All right. Do we have any?
Okay.
Do we have any final words?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Acer?
Nah. I didn't like this one. I didn't like having to talk about this. I felt like I was made to watch something that I didn't enjoy.
Well, the next one is something that you do enjoy.
That's true.
I hope you all are happy that we've dragged our carcasses back into the recording booth and reviving this old moldy cup of espresso just for you.
Oh, yeah. And look, if you're a fan of Elfen Lied, comment. Because, like, if you actually enjoy this, I wanna know what's up.
You know what? Yeah. Tell us how you feel about the show. Tell us why you like the show. I think that'd genuinely be interesting, because it's hard for me to wrap my brain around someone like unironically, genuinely enjoying the show nowadays. So, like, if that's how you feel, tell us about it. That's it, everyone.
Bouken, tell us about it.
All right. This has been the Essays and Espresso podcast, everyone. I've been your host, Daniel, with my cohorts, Aesir and Bouken.
Me.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. We'll be back soon, folks.